Hi Nana. So in our previous video, we learned some of the chemical properties of zinc metal. Okay, so in this video we will learn some more properties. See, actually, zinc metal. Okay, zinc metal, it reacts with air, it reacts with water, it reacts with mineral acids. Okay, the reaction of the chemical properties of zinc metal with these things we have learnt in our previous video. Now we will learn about the chemical reaction of zinc with the caustic alkalis. Zinc with the caustic alkalis. What are caustic alkalis? What are caustic alkalis? Caustic alkalis are sodium hydroxide, caustic soda, and potassium hydroxide. See, generally we will take a concentrated aqueous solutions of, okay, we will take a concentrated aqueous solutions of caustic alkalis. Okay, when zinc powder is mixed, or else it is boiled. When zinc powder is boiled with concentrated caustic alkalis like sodium hydroxide, okay, aqueous solution, and it is concentrated aqueous solution. Okay, so what happens? The zinc metal will react with the caustic alkalis. See, remember that zinc, it's a metal. It's a metal. Generally, metals react with acids. They does not react with bases or else alkalis. But there are certain metals which can react both with acids and bases. Okay, such metals are said to be amphoteric. Amphoteric in nature. So zinc is amphoteric in nature, like aluminium. Even aluminium also. Aluminium can react with acids as well as caustic alkalis. Even zinc also. So when this zinc metal reacts, it is boiled with a concentrated solution of sodium hydroxide. So it forms a zincate. Okay, so if it is reacted with the sodium, then it forms a sodium zincate along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. Suppose if it is KOH, concentrated KOH, okay, concentrated aqueous KOH, then what happens? It forms a potassium zincate and along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. So in this way, when zinc powder is boiled with concentrated aqueous solution of alkalis, okay, it forms its respective zincates. So this is called as potassium zincate and this is called as sodium zincate. Okay, and hydrogen gas is liberated. So in this way, zinc metal reacts with the caustic alkalis. Okay, now we will learn about the reaction of chemical properties of zinc, okay, with non-metals. Okay, so zinc can react with the non-metals and form different compounds. Zinc with the non-metals. Generally, as it is highly electropositive elements, so it can react with certain non-metals like chlorine, sulfur, etc. So we will discuss about the reaction of zinc with chlorine and sulfur. See, actually, zinc powder, when it is mixed with, when it is heated or else when it is boiled with sulfur powder, the mixture of zinc powder and sulfur powder when are boiled or else when are heated. Okay, so what happens? Both of them will react to form zinc sulfide and a large amount of heat is liberated. It is an exothermic reaction. It's a exothermic reaction. So zinc blend or else zinc sulfide is formed inside. Right. So initially we have to heat the reaction. So reaction takes place, and during the process large amount of heat is liberated. Hence it is called as exothermic reaction. And even zinc, when reacted with the chlorine also, so we have to heat it. We have to heat the zinc with chlorine. So in this reaction also we have to heat it and it forms a zinc chloride. Okay, so that means when zinc is heated and chlorine gas is sent, it is passed, when chlorine gas is passed on the heated zinc metal, so what happens? Reaction takes place between zinc and chlorine to form zinc chloride. So like this, the reaction of zinc with non-metals or else chemical properties of the zinc. This reaction with non-metal is also one of the chemical properties of the zinc. Now displacement reactions. How zinc shows displacement reactions? As zinc is highly electropositive element, so it can displace the other metals which are present below zinc in the electrochemical series. For example, see zinc metal is active metal, so it is highly electropositive element, electropositive metal. So generally highly electropositive metals will displace the less electropositive metals from their solutions, from their salt solutions. For example, if you take a copper sulfate aqueous solution, okay, so if you take aqueous solution of copper sulfate solution, so then when zinc metal is added to the aqueous copper sulfate solution, what happened? Zinc is more electropositive and copper is less electropositive. So copper is present in the form of Cu plus 2. Okay. So generally what happens? So copper is present at the bottom. Okay. So zinc is present at the top and copper is present at the bottom. Okay. So what happens? So the element which is present at the bottom, so what happened? It readily discharge. That means it loses its charge. So out of zinc and copper, so the copper will lose its charge. So copper is having positive charge. So it will lose its charge and become copper metal, and the zinc will react with the sulfate, okay, and forms a zinc sulfate. So what is happening in this process? So that means zinc, it is displacing the copper from its salt. So copper is present in its salt, but zinc is displacing the copper from its salt. It is removing the copper, and zinc is taking the place of copper in the sulfate. Okay, now zinc sulfate is formed. So such reactions are said to be displacement reactions. Another example, zinc plus silver nitrate. So what happens? Zinc will displace silver from its aqueous solution of silver nitrate, and finally for what? So silver is deposited, or else silver is reduced. Okay, and zinc is oxidized to zinc nitrate. Zinc metal is oxidized. So here highly electropositive element will undergo oxidation. Okay, when it is reacts with a salt of less electropositive element. So that means simply zinc will displace silver from the aqueous solution of silver salt. In the same way, zinc will displace copper from the aqueous solution of copper sulfate or its aqueous solution of copper salt. Okay. In the electrochemical series, so zinc is placed here. After zinc, iron, tin, lead, hydrogen, so like this. So here, the metal which is placed at the top of the series can displace the metals which are placed at the bottom below its its position. So zinc can displace iron also. For example, zinc can displace iron from iron sulfate aqueous solution, okay, to form zinc sulfate, and iron is displaced. So zinc will take place of iron. So now we will discuss about the uses of zinc metal. Okay. So first use is zinc metal is used in galvanization. What is galvanization? Galvanization is a process of coating. It's a process of coating iron sheets. Okay, iron sheets with a thin layer of a thin layer of zinc. Okay. So the process of coating. Okay, process of coating iron sheets with a thin layer of zinc. Okay, is called a thin layer of zinc is said to be galvanization. So actually, this is done. So this coating is done to protect the iron from rusting. Iron can rust easily. It can react with atmospheric oxygen in the presence of moisture, and it rusts. So, but when the same iron sheet, when it is coated with zinc metal, what happens? The zinc metal, it protects the iron. Okay, it protects the iron. So here actually, suppose this is the iron. So this is the layer of iron, and above that layer of iron, zinc is coated. So this is iron. Let us assume this is iron. On this iron, so zinc, there is a layer of zinc. There is a thin layer of zinc is coated. A thin layer of zinc is coated on it. So that what happens? So the atmospheric oxygen cannot come directly in contact with the iron. So if oxygen reacts with iron, then that iron gets rusted. But here, so between iron and oxygen, so zinc metal is present. So what happens? See, one thing we have to remember is zinc is more electropositive than iron. Though zinc is more electropositive than iron, so zinc is still used to coat iron metal. Okay, because zinc has some special property. See, actually when compared to iron, zinc is more reactive because as it is more electropositive. The metal with more electropositive nature will be more reactive. But still the iron, it is coated with zinc. What is the reason? Because that zinc can form zinc oxide, a protective layer of zinc oxide. See, suppose if this is iron and above that iron zinc is present, and the surface of the zinc will react with oxygen to form zinc oxide on it. So what is this one? Zinc oxide layer. So that means zinc oxide layer is formed above the zinc. The surface of the zinc will form zinc oxide layer, and what happened? This zinc oxide layer will protect the zinc which is present in the inner surface. So the outer surface is zinc oxide, and next to zinc oxide is next to the inner layer, next to zinc oxide is zinc, and then the next to zinc metal is iron. That means iron is placed very interior. Okay, see, zinc oxide which is formed, actually this is zinc oxide layer, this is zinc layer, and here it is iron layer. Iron is protected by zinc and zinc is protected by zinc oxide. Initially the surface of the zinc reacts with atmospheric oxygen, and then zinc oxide layer, protective layer of zinc oxide is formed on the zinc surface. And after the formation of zinc oxide, what happened? The zinc metal will stop reacting with the atmospheric oxygen, because that zinc metal is not in contact with the oxygen, because between zinc metal and oxygen, what is present? Zinc oxide is present. Zinc oxide will prevent the reaction of oxygen with the zinc. And here there is no question of reaction of iron with atmospheric oxygen, because iron is well protected by the zinc and zinc is well protected by the zinc oxide. So in this way, iron, it is the zinc oxide, the zinc will protect the iron from rusting. So if iron gets contact with oxygen in the presence of moisture, this is important. In the presence of moisture only, when iron reacts with oxygen, it forms a rust. Otherwise, it does not form rust. Okay. So here, what is happening? So galvanization is a process of formation of thin layer of zinc, okay, on the iron sheet, so that the iron is protected from the zinc. Okay, protected from rusting. That means iron cannot be rusted. This process is called as galvanization. So galvanization can be done by two methods. Okay, so one of the procedure is simply hot iron plate. See, so here if it is molten zinc, what is this one? Molten zinc. Molten zinc. Okay, so into this molten zinc, so thin layer of iron sheet. So iron sheet is immersed. Okay, or else iron plate is dipped into this molten zinc and it is taken out. See, here there are two steel rollers. Okay, steel rollers. So what happened? These steel rollers, they will rotate in this direction. So this will rotate in this direction and this will rotate in this direction. So both of them will keep on rotating, and here they are heated to 300 degrees centigrade. So now through these rollers, this iron plate which is dipped or else which is immersed in the molten zinc. So now this plate is passed through these rollers. When this plate is passed through these rollers, what happened? Actually, this is having zinc on its surface. This is having zinc on its surface. What happened? The zinc will stick to this metal, to this iron firmly, strongly. Okay. Okay. So what happens? So hot iron plates, when hot iron plate are immersed in zinc, molten zinc, and then passed through a steel rollers at 300 degrees centigrade, what happens? A thin film of zinc will stick on this iron. So here what happened? So thin film of zinc, it will stick firmly. Okay, sticks onto the iron sheet. So therefore, now this is called as galvanized iron. Galvanized iron. So like this, the process of galvanization can be done. So this is one method. This is one method. There is another method. Okay, where by that method also galvanization can be done. So what is the other method? See, actually in the second method, so iron sheet, thin iron, the iron sheet is taken, it is connected to negative terminal of the battery. Okay, negative terminal of the battery. That means it acts as cathode. It acts as cathode. Okay, and to the positive terminal of the battery, so zinc, pure zinc metal. What is this one? Pure zinc metal. Okay, so this it acts as anode. It acts as anode. And here what is this one? Iron. This is iron sheet. Iron sheet. It acts as cathode. And these two electrodes, they are dipped in acidified solution of zinc sulfate. Okay, acidified solution of zinc sulfate. What is this one? Acidified zinc sulfate solution. So now what happened? So here electrolysis is done. So simply it is nothing but electroplating. Already we have learned the method of electroplating. See, now here in this case you have to take pure metal anode. Okay, so this anode is made up of pure zinc metal, and cathode, it is made up of iron metal. So what happens? The zinc metal, so as the anode material is zinc metal, what happens? The zinc will lose electrons. Zinc will lose electrons to the anode because what happens? Anode requires electrons. So zinc will lose electrons to the anode, and after that what happens? Zinc will convert into zinc ions, and those zinc ions will enter into the solution. And zinc ions are positive in nature. So this is what? Negative electrode, cathode. Cathode is negative electrode. Hence zinc ions will move towards this cathode, iron. Okay, iron. And at cathode what happens? The zinc ions. So this is at anode. At anode this reaction takes place, but at cathode what happens? Zinc ions will move towards cathode, and cathode is negative electrode. So what happens? After coming towards the negative electrode, so zinc will take electrons from the cathode and convert into zinc metal, and that zinc metal is deposited. Zinc metal is deposited on the surface of the iron. Slowly the zinc metal will deposit as a thin layer on the surface of the iron, so that finally what happens? The iron metal is completely covered by the zinc. So in this way thin layer of zinc will get coated on the iron metal. So finally, so now it is called as galvanized iron. So now this is called as galvanized iron. So in this way galvanization can be done. Okay, so what is the use of galvanization? Galvanization, it protects the iron, it prevents iron from rusting. It is because a very thin film of zinc oxide is formed over the zinc. Okay, a very thin protective layer of zinc oxide is formed over the zinc. Okay, this protective film of zinc oxide will protect the zinc from the further reaction. Okay, and zinc will protect the iron. Okay, and finally the iron does not get rusted. So these things we have discussed. Now, if you see the applications of galvanization. So due to galvanization, what is the importance of galvanization, or else what are the uses of galvanization, or else where galvanization process is done? So mainly galvanization, it is used for making tin roofs. So it helps in making tin roofs. Okay. In making tin roofs. Okay, for sheds. So actually, some sheds are they are covered with roofs. I mean, roof of a shed, they are covered with tins. The tin or else galvanized iron. So in that process, galvanization is done. Actually, a thin layer of zinc, if it is coated on generally any metal, the process is said to be galvanization. See, galvanization is mainly used for iron sheets. Okay, and also this galvanization process can be used in the manufacturing of buckets. Okay, in the manufacturing of trunks. Okay, and also in the manufacturing of rainwater drain pipes. Rainwater drain pipes. That means, so the rainwater is passed away, okay, through these pipes. So for draining purpose, to drain the rainwater. So some pipes are used, and those pipes are they are galvanized. Okay, so that the pipes does not get rusted easily. Okay, so in this way galvanization process can be used. Okay, so that means zinc is used in the process of galvanization, so that it prevents the other metal from corrosion. Okay. The next use of zinc metal is it is used in the dry cells. Zinc metal is used in the dry cells. See, actually, this is a dry cell. Okay. See, inside the dry cell, you will find what? An electrode, a carbon electrode, or else graphite electrode. See, the container of this dry cell, it is made up of zinc metal. So the container, so inside this container, so some material is filled, okay, and into this, so electrode is kept, and now it is sealed off. So at the bottom you will find some materials like ammonium chloride, etc. Okay, see, actually the container itself is made up of zinc metal. Okay, the container of the dry cells. The container of the dry cells. So this container, it acts as so actually this is anode. This is anode, and the container itself acts as cathode. Container itself acts as cathode of the dry cell. See here, zinc metal will lose electrons easily because as it is electropositive element, so zinc can lose its valence electrons easily. Okay, it can lose its valence electrons easily and donates those electrons. So these, the material which is present between this one and zinc metal, so what happened? It will transfer the electrons, okay, from this zinc metal to this rod, because this anode is positive electrode. So what happens? So this zinc metal will lose electrons, and these electrons are taken away by this anode, and some material is present, so that material acts as electrolyte. So like this, here in the dry cells, zinc metal can be used as cathode, because as it is highly electropositive element, it can easily donates electrons, okay, and those electrons are transferred. So due to this one, what happens? Current is passed. So actually this is direct current. This is called as direct current. So that means direct current this is, battery cells, the current present in the battery cells is called as direct current. Okay, right. So that means zinc metal is used in the manufacturing of dry cells, and also it is used in the extraction of another use. The third use of zinc metal is extraction of noble metals from their salts. Extraction of noble metals from their salts. Noble metals like gold, silver. See, actually noble metals are nothing but the metals which are non-reactive. See, generally gold, silver, they does not show chemical reactions. See, goldsmiths, they use this gold or silver, and they keep gold or silver in the acids. They keep gold or silver in the acids. So due to this, what happens? That when gold or silver it is kept, when it is kept in acid, what happens? They dissolve in the acid, okay, to form their salts. So gold will form gold salt, and silver will form silver salts. So in the so this is the dissolved form of gold and silver. So these are the metallic form of solid form of gold and silver, and these are the dissolved form of gold and silver. So when gold or silver is kept in acid, so they react with acid to form salts. For example, if acid is HNO3 or else HCl, then it forms AuCl3, this will form AgCl. So like this, gold or silver, when they are kept in acids, so they react with the acids to form their salts like this. So that means in the acid, so the gold or silver, they are present in the form of ions. They are dissolved. They form soluble salts. These are soluble salts. So that means there will be loss of gold or iron. Gold or iron, it will dissolve in acid. So now this gold or gold or silver. So this gold or silver, they can be recovered. They can be recovered from the acid. So now the gold and silver, it is present. It is converted into salts, and those salts are dissolved in the acid. So now gold or silver can be recovered. So now this is the acid in which gold or silver, it is dissolved, and it has formed into salts, and that those salts are dissolved in the acid. So if you want to recover the gold or silver, So we have to add what? Zinc powder. When zinc powder or else when aluminum powder is, when zinc powder or aluminum powder is added to the acid in which the gold and silver salts are dissolved, so what happens? So this gold salt, so actually this is aqueous solution. Acid is an aqueous solution, aqueous acids. So what happens? So this zinc metal will displace the gold, okay, and forms a zinc chloride. Okay, it forms a zinc chloride, and gold it is displaced. So in this way, so gold can be extracted. Or else this is a noble metal. So for the extraction of noble metals from their salts, okay, so this is the salt of noble metal. So from this salt, so gold is extracted. So for this purpose, zinc metal is used. Even aluminum metal also will does the same work. Okay, so like this. Next use of zinc metal is zinc will act as reducing agent. Zinc metal can act as reducing agent. Okay, as reducing agent, as reducing agent. See, generally zinc dust or else zinc powder can act as reducing agent, or else zinc copper couple can act as reducing agent, or else the zinc and dilute sulfuric acid also can act as reducing agent, because in all these cases what happens, they can liberate hydrogen gas. So zinc dust when reacted with water, it liberates hydrogen gas. Zinc copper couple also will liberate hydrogen gas, and even zinc with dilute sulfuric acid also can liberate hydrogen gas. So these are said to be different reducing reducing agent forms of zinc. In all these forms zinc can act as a reducing agent. Okay, so these can be used to reduce the organic compounds. Okay, that means the reactions of organic compounds, these substances can be used so that those organic compounds can be reduced. Generally such reduction reactions can be done mainly in the preparation of or else in the manufacturing of synthetic perfumes or synthetic drugs. Okay, see, generally perfumes or drugs, they are organic compounds only. So that means in the manufacturing of drugs, synthetic perfumes or synthetic drugs, so these substances can be used as reducing agent. So like this, zinc can act as reducing agent. So this is reducing agent is here reducing agents will reduce the organic compounds. Okay, so this is another use of zinc metal. Next, zinc metal can be used in the formation of alloys. formation of alloys. So already we have seen what is an alloy. Alloy is a homogeneous mixture of metals, two or more metals. Okay. So now there are different alloys of zinc. For example, brass, bronze. Okay, brass, bronze, German silver, etc. See, for example, if you take brass, it is an it is an alloy of copper metal and zinc metal. So copper it may be present 60% to 80% of the brass will be copper, and remaining 40% to 20% of the metal will be zinc. Okay, so here the percentage of copper and zinc will be in this range. Okay, see where this brass can be used. So this brass can be used in making utensils. Okay, in making statues, or else in electrical fittings. See, brass means in Telugu we call it as ittadi. Okay, so that brass screws or else brass plugs, okay, or else brass holders. Okay, holders are made up of brass. Okay, because it can act as good conductor of electricity. Hence, it is used in electrical fittings and also in gun shells. Gun shells. See, gun shells are made. They are filled with gunpowder. Okay, that means gun shells means bullets. Okay, right. Next, these are the uses of brass. See, why brass is used in these purposes? So because brass it's a good conductor of electricity. It's a good conductor, as it is good conductor of both heat and electricity. So it can be used in cooking vessels. Okay, it's a good conductor of both heat and electricity. It's a good conductor of both heat and electricity. Hence, it is used in the manufacturing of cooking utensils, and it is also used in the electrical fittings. Okay. See, it does not tarnish. So brass does not tarnish. That means surface cannot become dull. So as it is an alloy always have better properties. So its surface does not tarnish. Hence we use brass in the manufacturing of certain utensils, in the manufacturing of statues. So if statues are made with any metal which can tarnish, what happens? The statues does not shine. Okay, so the statues always will shine because they are made up of the materials which does not tarnish. That means their surface does not become dull. So always statues should be made up of materials which always shine. Their surface always should shine. Their surface should not become dull. So brass, as it does not tarnish, so it can be used in the manufacturing of statues. Okay, and also it can be easily molded and welded. It can be easily molded. As it can be easily molded, so we can make statues. Okay, and even welded. So they can be welded easily. So that means the brass and this brass alloy can be welded easily, can be used in welding. Okay. So this brass. So if any material cannot be welded easily, then we cannot use that material in many applications. So we use generally the materials which can be welded easily. So that material can be used in many applications. Okay. So brass, it is welded easily. Hence, it can be used in the manufacturing of statues or electrical fittings or else like this. There are so many uses of brass. Now, if you speak about bronze, see bronze, it's a homogeneous mixture of copper, zinc, and tin. See copper, it is of 80%. Okay, tin, it is of 18%. Okay, zinc is only 2%. Okay, see where this bronze is used. This bronze, it is used in the manufacturing of coins. Even it is also used in the manufacturing of statues. Okay, and it is also used in the manufacturing of utensils. Okay, so this is coins, so that is important. So this is electrical fittings and gun shells. See why? What is the reason for the usage of bronze in these cases? Again, the same reason. So here it cannot. This also does not tarnish. Bronze also does not tarnish with moist air. So generally tarnish will take place with moist air. In moist air, tarnishes takes place. But these are the alloys. They does not get a tarnish even in moist air. Okay, and this can be we can polish this bronze easily. Okay, we can polish highly. We can polish highly this bronze metal, and it is very hard. It is very hard metal, and it can be highly polished. Okay, and it does not tarnish with moist air, and also it can be easily cast. Okay, okay, we can cast this we can use this bronze metal for casting purpose. Casting means molds. In making molds. Okay, like this. So now we will discuss about the German silver. What is German silver? German silver, it is also a mixture of copper, zinc, but here it is nickel. So in all these cases, copper and zinc is present. Copper and zinc. Okay. But here it is tin. When tin is present, it is called as bronze. When nickel it is present, it is called as German silver. And here the composition is, here it is only 50%. It is only 50%. And nickel it is 30%. Sorry, zinc it is 30% and nickel will be 20%. See, if you see the applications of German silver, so that means where German silver is used. German silver, it is used in the manufacturing of imitation jewelries. So this is important. Imitation jewelries. Okay, in the manufacturing of imitation jewelries. Okay, decoration. Okay, in the manufacturing, in the decoration pieces, in the utensils, the manufacturing of utensils. Okay, in the decoration pieces, decoration purpose. Okay, the decoration purpose also we can use this German silver. See why this German silver can be used in all these cases? Because German silver, it is highly malleable. It is highly malleable. As it is highly malleable, so what is the meaning of malleable? Malleable means we can make thin sheets out of German silver. Okay, and ductile, highly malleable and ductile. Ductile means we can make wires from German silver. Okay, and it is not affected by the moist air. So German silver, it is not affected. It is not affected by moist air. That means it is not. It does not react with the moist air. So generally alloys does not react with the moist air. As in most of the cases, alloys does not react with the moist air. So here German silver also, it is not affected by the moist air. So that is why this German silver, it is used in the manufacturing of imitation jewelries. Okay, so particularly imitation jewelry is important here. So like this, these are the uses of zinc metal. So in the next video, we will learn about the iron metal. Okay, bye.